Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to show you what is Linux and what are the different types of Linux commands. The first topic is what is Linux. So before getting into the Linux commands, we will go through a small overview of what is Linux. So Linux is an operating system or a kernel which is developed by Linus Torvalds. It was first launched in the year 1991 and till today it is a open source software. So the main advantages of using Linux is programmers are able to use the Linux kernel to design their own custom operating systems. There are different types of Linux distributions like Debian or Fedora and Ubuntu. These are one of the very few types of Linux distributions right now because there are more than thousands of other Linux operating systems which are available in the market today. So coming to the benefits of using Linux, there are a lot of benefits. So most of the applications in Linux are completely free. Linux is one of the most secured operating system ever. You don't need to install any sort of antivirus for the Linux operating system. Linux is also used as an operating system for the servers. So like for example, Google, Amazon, Facebook uses Linux as an operating system for their servers. Linux has an ability to run at the lowest of 8 MB RAM. So these are all the overview of Linux. So next we are going to see about Linux commands. So before talking about the Linux commands, you have to know where you are going to implement these commands. Linux commands are basically used to browse, create, delete and move files. So there are two different types how you can perform these activities. The first one is graphical user interface. For example, like how we have the file explorer in the Microsoft Windows operating system. So even in Linux, we have this home directory over here, which is used to browse, create, delete and move files. So the next one is CLI. CLI stands for command line interface. To perform tasks in your command line interface, you have to go to your terminal in your Linux machine. So I have my terminal over here. So just click on terminal and this is your CLI, which is command line interface. The main role of this command line interface is the command line interface accepts the commands from the user and it processes the commands and it gives out the result of the command. Coming to the benefits of a command line interface and graphical user interface. Command line interface are flexible and has many options. And you can also perform more actions in a single command. And you can also work with multiple files at the same time. And compared to the graphical user interface, command line interface is way faster. The benefits of using graphical interfaces, you can view the performance graphs in the GUI. And at the same time, if you wanted to edit some videos or photos, graphical user interface is the better option. So if you wanted to create some designs like for example 2D or 3D, you have to go for the graphical user interface. So now let's get into the Linux commands. The first command is ls. So this ls stands for list. So after typing ls and when you click on enter, the command line interface displays the files in your current directory. So my current directory is Kali and these are all the files in the current directory. So the next command is lsr. So this command is used to display the subdirectories. The next command is lsla. So when I clicked on enter, you can see along with the files in my current directory, you can also see a very detailed views of these files. So this command is basically used to deliver the files in your directory along with the details of the files. And the next command is clear command. If you want a fresh terminal, just type clear and click on enter. So now you will have a fresh terminal. The next command is cat command. So the cat command is used to display, copy, combine and create text files. I'm going to do ls and you can see I have a file over here. So I have a file which is named as file. So I wanted to view that file. What you have to do is just type cat followed by the file name and then click on enter. So you can see the text inside that file over here. So which is written as hello world. So this is the main purpose of the cat command. So the next command is used to rename your files. If you wanted to rename your file, just type mv followed by your file name and then the file name which you wanted to create. So now click on enter. So when I do ls, you can see that the file is changed to file 1. So the next command is used to move a file from one particular location to another particular location. So now if you see here, the file 1 is in Kali. So I want this file 1 in my desktop. So I'm going to move this. So for that, the command is mv your file which you wanted to move followed by the destination where you wanted to move your file. So I wanted to move this file to desktop. So I'm going to type home Kali desktop and then click on enter. So now if you see over here in the desktop, you can find the file 1. So the next command is used to delete the file. So I want to delete the file 1 in my desktop, but over here when I type ls, I cannot find the file 1 to delete it. So we have to get inside desktop. So to get inside any directories, you have to type cd followed by the directory. So click on enter. Now when you type ls, you can find the file 1. So now to delete a file in Linux, you have to type rm followed by your file name. So when I click on enter, my file is deleted. Just type ls and click enter. So now you cannot find your file 1. The next command is used to create directories. So to create directory, the command is mkdir followed by your file name. So I'm going to give file 1. Okay, so now this file will be created in my current directory, which is Kali. So when I click on enter, my directory is created. The Linux terminal is a silent terminal. It doesn't give any sort of response unless you create an error. So when I type ls and click on enter, you can find my directory file 1. If you wanted to create a directory in your desktop without switching to desktop, what you can do is just type mkdir followed by the location where you wanted to create your directory. So I want my directory to be in desktop. So I'm typing desktop followed by the directory name, which is file 2. So click on enter, and now if you check your desktop, you can see a new directory file 2. So in case if you wanted to create multiple directories, you can type mkdir followed by your directory name. So my first directory will be file 2. The next directory will be file 3. So I'm going to click on enter. So now when I do ls, you can find that I have created multiple directories at the same time. So if you wanted to remove these directories, the command is rmdir followed by the directory which you wanted to delete. So for example, I wanted to delete file 3. So let's type file 3. Now when I do ls, you can see that the file 3 has been deleted. So the next command is man. So man stands for manual. So this man command goes with all the commands in the Linux terminal. So for example, if I wanted to see the manual of the command ls, so you have to type man ls. So now click on enter, and now you can see the manual of the command ls. So you can see that the name ls stands for list directory contents, and we have the synopsis and the description, how the command works and everything. So if you wanted to come out of this manual, just click on Q, and now you'll be back in your terminal. The next command is history. So this history command is used to view all your previous commands which you entered in the terminal. You can see that the history command has displayed all the previous commands which you have entered. The next topic that we are going to see is the permissions. So let me type lsla. If you see over here, we have different types of alphabets written along with this file. The first part is for the user, the second part is for the group, and the third part is for other single users. If you wanted to change the file permissions in Linux, the command is chmod. So the chmod stands for change mode. So you can change mode to set permissions using this command. So there are two modes in chmod. The first one is absolute mode and the second one is symbolic mode. So first let's see what is an absolute mode. If you see over here, the D stands for directory. So if you're targeting a directory, it will be D. If you're targeting a particular text file or any sort of file, it will be blank. So as we have D over here, this denotes to be a directory. The next alphabet is R. So R stands for read permissions and W stands for write permissions and X stands for executable permissions. So if you see over here, I have removed all the permissions for this file over here. If you wanted to give permission or if you wanted to remove permission, the command is chmod and I'm going to give the permission 764 followed by my file name. So let's click on enter, and now when we do lsla, you can see I have given the file permissions over here. Now you'll be wondering what is this number 764. So let me show a picture what the 764 denotes. So in Linux permissions, there are 8 different types of permissions which starts from 0 to 7. These are those 8 permissions. So 0 stands for no permission, 1 stands to executable permission, 2 stands for write permission, 3 stands for execute plus write permission, 4 stands for read permission, 5 stands for read plus execute permission, 6 stands for read plus write permission, and 7 stands for read, write and execute permission. So like this you can give your own permissions to a particular file or a directory. So the next mode in chmod is symbolic mode. So let me show you a small reference of symbolic mode. So if you see over here, in symbolic mode, you have 4 different alphabets, which is U, G, O, and A. So U denotes owner of the file or directory, G denotes member of the same group, O denotes all the other users, and A denotes all users. So for example, if I wanted to change the file permission of the file too, using the symbolic mode, so what I'm going to do is, only for the group, I'm going to give the executable permission. So the command will be chmod g plus x followed by the file name. So when I click on enter, my command has been executed, and let's check it by typing lsla and click on enter. So now you can see only for the groups I have given the executable permission. So this is how you will be changing the file permissions using your Linux terminal with the command chmod. So the next command which we are going to see about is how to change the ownership and group using Linux terminal. So over here we are going to change the file ownership and group for this file too. Over here you can see it is written as Kali for both ownership and the group. So if you wanted to change the file ownership, the command is chown followed by the user you wanted to give the permission. So I wanted to give the permission to root followed by your file name. So if you see over here, it says the operation is not permitted because we are not logged in as the root user. So for that we have to use a special command called sudo. So type sudo and then chown, the user, and followed by your file name. Now click enter. Let's type ls and la. Now you can see the ownership of this file has been changed to root. So if you wanted to change the group user as root or any other user, you have to type chgrp, so which is change group followed by the user and the file name. So over here again, make sure you type sudo. Now click on enter. So now when I do lsla, you can see both the ownership of the file and the group has been modified. So if you wanted to change both these ownership and the group at the same time, you have to type chown, and now I'm going to switch it from root to Kali. So type Kali, again Kali followed by your file name, and again don't forget to mention sudo. So now click on enter, and when I do lsla, you can see the ownership and the group has been modified. So this next command is used to execute different commands at the same time. So for example, if I wanted to execute ls and pwd at the same time, so let's type ls followed by semicolon and pwd. So this pwd command is used to locate your current working directory. So let's click on enter, and you can see the first command ls has been executed, and at the same time the second command, my pwd, has been executed. The next topic is we are going to see a very basic things about shell scripts. So before getting into the shell scripts, you have to know about the important components of an operating system. So an operating system has two important components. The first one is kernel and the second one is shell. So a kernel is used for communication between the software and the hardware. And shell takes the input from the user, processes the command and gives the output. So to create these types of shell scripts in your terminal, you can use text editors like Vim or Nano. So today I'm going to use Nano for creating the bash scripts. So let's type Nano followed by the name of the file and with the extension .sh. So the first command in bash scripting is you have to type hash exclamation followed by bin sh. So this will be your first command, and then I want my script to perform the command of ls, so I'm going to just type ls. So now let's save this and let's exit the Nano text editor, and now I'm going to execute my bash script. So let's type bash followed by your file name and click on enter. So now you can see when I clicked on enter, the command ls has been performed here. So the next thing which we are going to see is called shell variables. So the variables has ability to store informations which can be read only by a shell. So let's get into this Nano and let's remove this ls. So over here, let's type a very simple command. So I'm going to type echo who are you, and we are going to ask the script to read the input which is given by the user. So type read and then the name. So next we want the script to give us a reply. So I'm going to type echo. So I'm going to use $symbol and name. So this $symbol is used to grab the input which is given by the user. So and then I'm going to say good to have you back. So let's close this. Next, again we can ask the script to take an input from the user. So I'm going to give it as a remark. So let's again echo this, and I'm going to type You're welcome. So now let's save this and let's exit this. So now let's try to execute our command. So I'm going to type bash followed by the file name where I have stored my script. So click on enter. So it is asking me who are you. I'm going to say that I am James Bond. Click enter. So it says James Bond, good to have you back. So I'm going to say thank you. It says you're welcome. So this is one of the most basic scripting how you can do in bash scripts. Bash scripting has several more things, like for example loops and everything. So hope you guys like this video, and I hope I have delivered some useful contents in this video. Thank you guys.